Hello everybody. It's time for another Dresden reading vlog. It's not a full novel, but still, there's new Dresden to read, so I feel like I have to document it. Today is the release date for The Law, the new Dresden Files novella, and I wish that I had been able to wake up and read it first thing this morning, but unfortunately I was on call, and my call shift just ended. I quickly filmed my wrap-up video, and now I plan to just sit down and read through this novella. I don't really know what it's about. I've seen like the little blurb that everybody else has seen, which says that Harry Dresden has to fight battles, the legal kind and the kind with explosions. So I'm assuming that there's going to be fallout or repercussions from the things that happened in Battleground. I expect this to infuriate me. I expect there's going to be a lot of Harry needing to deal with crap that I wish he didn't have to deal with, but it's new Dresden, and even though I have not been waiting nearly as long as many of you, I am still super pumped to read it. Only 2 chapters in, and I am assuming that they're going to write off the whole battle as, what did they call it? Terrorists and chemical warfare. Which is odd. Like, they really made it, or Jim Butcher really made it seem like in Battleground, like this was going to be the moment, like the reckoning, where people recognized that there was magic and monsters and they were going to have to come to terms with that, and it was going to have a big impact on the world. So I don't know if Dresden's conversation with this woman is meant to be indicative of what like everybody has absorbed and they're following along the same, like people will believe what they want to believe or not. But I'm interested because I really did think that this was going to be like the start of the breakdown of magic versus non-magic society. So we shall see. Yes, here's our obligatory Thomas is in stasis page. And it just makes me sad because I want Thomas out of Demon Reach, but it's not going to happen. So I know that I always argue with Jake and Colton about Thomas being cooler than Mab. And I will stand by that. I love Thomas, but when Mab comes, you automatically get excited. I have only read the sentence where she descends, but I'm already so excited. Right, I am done. And that was delightful. I will just say, so like first things first, it's really nice to have something new to read for Dresden. I'm sure, like I said, people who have been following this along and reading the books as they released are probably even more excited for it than I was because, you know, they've been harder up for it. They've been waiting for a longer time. But it was really, really nice to have something new to read. It's interesting. I did not think coming into it that it was just going to be like a side case, I guess we'll call it. I thought that it was going to be more directly related to everything that had happened and exploring some of that, just because Dresden's emotional state is going to be difficult to get into in one book, and I thought that this would be a good stepping stone, I guess, for that. But it did accomplish some things. So we got to see in minor detail some of Dresden's grief, some of the trauma that he's been through, the symptoms that he's having of that, the ways that he's trying to deal with it. And I think it's good that he is still finding ways to be helpful, and that is his way of moving forward and processing his grief, is, you know, falling back on some of those early ways that he had to help other people. So I did enjoy the case for that reason. It felt like a throwback Dresden moment, and, you know, Dresden probably needed that just as much as we needed that. So I did enjoy that. It was good to get the explanation for what people thought about the supernatural, so the heebie-jeebies, which, like, Jim Butcher coming up with a character like that who then gets to describe what the heebie-jeebies are is just like peak Dresden. Like, what a vile, repulsive man. And I don't know. But anyway, I am surprised. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that we were going to see more of that very real, like, bleeding or blending of the supernatural and the mortal world. So I'm surprised that it all got covered up as this hallucinatory toxin. But, you know, based on the world building that we've gotten so far, that makes sense. It was interesting that they mentioned Lara. So we did get like the throwaway line at the beginning about them arranging a date and how it's going to have to fit the terms and conditions, etc., etc. But we didn't actually see that. And by the end of the story, things have like jumped forward several months. So presumably we have missed their first interactions in that way. And I don't know if the new book is going to go back and start at an earlier point in time, if we're going to go back and see that. I don't really know how Jim Butcher usually weaves these novellas into the timeline of his main novels, but that's an interesting lens. I think thematically, this, I imagine, or I wonder, I guess, if Butcher's outlook or the way that he feels about what is going to come up next in Harry's life influenced what he wanted to write about here and the reasons why he wanted to write about it. So having this focus on the legal system and have that emphasis on humanity without supernatural influence, does it have something to say about what we're going to see from Harry and the fallout from his actions towards Rudolph and how he's going to work through that? We also saw the nod from one of the Knights of the Bean. So we see that there are members of the police force who are still loyal to Harry. And I wonder if we're going to get some of that division and see some of that division in our next main novel. But it's interesting. There's still a lot of things to think about. This was very much just like a little side story, which is fine. Like I said, I'm very charmed. I'm very happy to have read something from the Dresden verse, but I'm greedy now. Like, it just makes me want a real book. I'm like, okay, well, here's the appetizer, but where's my main course? So hopefully we'll get some announcement about how long we have to wait for that. Obviously no pressure for Jim Butcher, but it just, makes me want it even more now. Overall, I liked it. I had a really good time reading it. I just read it all now in this one sitting, and I want to hear from everybody else. What did you think about it? Were you disappointed? Were you excited? Did you listen to it or read it? I did not listen. I read this one by ebook, but I want to know what people thought, what they're looking forward to, if this was what they expected or not, and we all join together in solidarity awaiting our next fix of Dresden. Bye.